Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure of standing in front of the most influential leaders in Europe. During this 30 minutes of presentation, we will be talking packaging. When I present those packaging aspects, I realize that my job is not easy because packaging category is almost forgotten, let's call it like this, by the industry, is always left on the bottom of the priorities. However, the importance of the packaging is arising now. We are Trillora, we are global packaging partner, helping brands to optimize the design, production, and the delivery of their packaging. So the packaging serves as a strategic companion to build a resilient supply chains. And my personal goal is to raise an awareness of the packaging categories amongst the retail brands. What we'll be talking about today? Today I will highlight some challenges we have on the market, coming from the economical tensions, geopolitical tensions, and also some environmental aspects. However, we would like to show you how the packaging can be a companion to build this global supply chain resilience. The experience is coming from our work with the biggest companies in the apparel and footwear industries. Those are the industries we support the most. Apart from this, we are working with the furniture industries and outdoor industries. We live in a VUCA world. You know it perfectly. And when I was looking for the source of this term, I realized that it was established in 1980s. So we were thinking 30 years ago that the world is uncertain and there is a lot of ambiguity in the world. But we think that it's happening now also. So this VUCA is permanent, meaning that we should think about the change, about this volatility as something normal, which is happening in our life, which means that we should be prepared all the time to cope with those challenges. So bringing up this, the factors we are facing nowadays. So the Red Sea challenges, the drying Panama Channel. I just roughly calculated that this situation, the drying Panama Channel, cost increase of the transportation cost by 20%. Also, when the ships take a longer route around the Southern America, the shipment takes 5 days longer. So we need to prepare. The packaging needs to be prepared to withstand the longer time on the ocean. I'm not sure whether many people know, but some sources say that 40% of global seafarers' workforce is Ukrainian. So you can imagine what is going to happen if Ukraine starts calling those people back to fight in the war. We'll have really huge challenges. Not mentioning the Trump tariffs, which are changing like faster than the fashion trends. Trump tariffs. How to build our economic resilience with that? What we are facing, our clients are shifting the production from the countries with a high tariff rate to the lower rates. We have roughly 100 manufacturing facilities. This is not our; those are not our own facilities. We partner with those production facilities. However, we manage the production in almost all of the main manufacturing hubs in Asia. So when our client wants to shift the production, let's say from China to Vietnam, it's very common nowadays, it takes roughly 2 weeks up to 1 month to switch the production. It's very easy for us. How we are doing this? Usually when you look at at the supply chain, like in 80% of the cases, the brands are allowing their product manufacturer to source and to manage the packaging category, which means we have a product manufacturer in China. The product manufacturer has is managing the packaging production plant. If you have 30 production plants, they are managing roughly most probably 30 packaging production plants. We are stepping in between the brand and the packaging manufacturing plant, bringing to the stage our managed packaging manufacturing plants. And on the right-hand side, you have the situation how it looks like simply after the optimization. So we are shortening the number of the packaging production plants, creating an economy of the scale, and fully managing those packaging production plants. So now when you want to make a change and shift the packaging, you don't deal with all of those 30 packaging manufacturing plants, you deal only with us. We agree on the specification, we agree on the pricing in the new region, we agree on the volumes and on the time of the production shift, and then we simply shift the packaging production to another country. Then EU Green Deal, something which is well known, and I hear it everywhere. PPWR, EUDR, CSRD, CSDDD. You might want to take a picture of this. This is a calendar of the EU Green Deal regulations touching the packaging category. We have 5 regulations which are either specifically touching packaging category, or packaging is included in the subject. So it's EUDR, PPWR, CSRD, CSDDD, and FLR. You need to look at the design. EUDR and PPWR are specifically talking about this. For EUDR, you will need to prove or you will need to know where your packaging was manufactured, one thing, but what's more important, where the raw material is coming from. You need to have a traceability up to the 1 square meter of the ground where the tree was harvested from. Then with PPWR, for example, this regulation is restricting the number of the empty space in the box. You will not be allowed to ship more than 50% of the air in the box. Then heavily focused reporting, CSRD, CSDDD, and FLR. So here are the examples of what you need to deliver to the authorities. So first of all, you need to know who is your packaging supplier, who is an owner, what is the company manufacturing the packaging, how they are tracing their production, what are their reporting standards, their quality standards, what is the source of the data, whether the data which they are providing is reliable, because it's not a manufacturing plant who is responsible in front of the authorities, it's a brand who is responsible for the data consistency. Then you need to know on the material transparency, on the process transparency, and the reporting transparency. You need to know exactly what is the specification of the box, whether the supplier has a code of conduct, whether the supplier is following the code of conduct, what are their quality management system, and you have whether you have data, whether your supplier is able to provide you a data necessary to report in front of the authorities. The consequences of non-compliance are severe. So first of all, financial penalties, the reputational damage, civil liabilities, up to the product bans from selling on the European market. So while building up your supply chain or your new supply chain, you need to focus on choosing the right packaging suppliers. In my opinion, the race to the bottom is going to end. Packaging is currently considered as a commodity, so the best is to source the cheapest packaging. Of course, it needs to be a proper quality because you need to protect the product. However, with the increased legal requirements, you will need to include another factors, which is all of the things which I was just talking about. Now, when it comes to the environmental and geopolitical disruptions, how we are helping our clients to fight those? First of all, the packaging optimization. This is a key, and this is going to be a key for the keyword for the global brands. We are looking at the boxes, whether the brands are filling their cartons fully, how they are utilizing their cartons. We are looking at the excess materials used by the packaging suppliers. When you allow your product manufacturer to source packaging, for them, packaging is a commodity. They focus on the product. They are expert in the product manufacturing. Packaging is a kind of tool which helps them to protect the product and get rid of the quality claims. So that's why they love to overprotect the packaging. They are adding another layer of protection. You can see the pads, you can see the thick cartons being used, because it's the brand who pays for the packaging. It's the brand who pays for the transportation. They don't have a visibility to the full supply chain, so they are not able to optimize the packaging, which simply where the brand will be able to optimize their supply chain to the fullest. And container utilization. It's really hard for those packaging supplier to optimize the container if they don't have a full visibility of the supply chain. So what we are doing while designing the sizes of the boxes, it's of course the logistics carton, but also we are designing the size of the retail packaging, so it fits better into the logistics carton. So while designing those boxes, we are looking at the container of efficiency. So roughly, from the optimization, the ideal numbers we are delivering is between 95 and 98% of the container optimization. With an unoptimized business, what I see, like before the optimization, it's 75 up to the 85%. So there is always a space, a room for improvement. This is the number which simply we are delivering when it comes to the box space utilization. Usually we change the sizes of the boxes and delivering roughly 95% of the utilization. And this is a live example of one of the big apparel brands, European apparel brands. I cannot say the name, but we've managed to eliminate roughly 1,000 containers per year. The savings are huge, almost 2.5 million per year. So you can imagine, like investing in the optimization. The average optimization cost is roughly $40,000. So investing this money, you can get really huge savings when you ship a lot of containers. Another example on how we helped our clients to fight those challenges is Levi's. They had a problem of damaged goods because their cartons during the shipment that they got wet and simply damaged their trousers. However, at the same time, they wanted a protection, but at the same time, they wanted to remove polybags. So we developed the carton with a coating, non-petroleum-based coating, which simply protected from the moisture. And actually, on the right-hand side, you can see the carton after 1 month on the ocean. It's wet on the top, but in the box, it was dry in the box. So Levi's was able to deliver the boxes without the polybags. Environmental impact. So sustainability is one of the key words. Sustainability and resilience is one of the key words I hear here. We are also tracing the environmental aspect, the CO2 emission and the water consumption. When we start the optimization, we are looking at the current situation and approximating the CO2 emission and water consumption. Then we do a kind of dry run on optimization, and we are delivering the numbers, how it's going to look like after when you optimize your packaging, your supply chain. So you are aware and conscious how much you can gain out of the optimization and make a conscious decision whether you would like to go for it. Another example of the lifetime numbers we delivered is a Stadium, one of the biggest Swedish retailer. So we optimized their carton, their transportation, and also we optimized their protection. So we delivered roughly 40% of the CO2 emission reduction from the optimization. Few examples on how we improve the sustainability of the packaging. We love to remove the poly bags and the plastic from the packaging. So as you can see here, jet boil, we removed the plastic fully. Then another example on the right hand side, it's a lever for the beer taps. So the client was using EPS foam. They were simply cutting the shape of the product. So we designed the carton packaging for it, adjustable carton packaging, so that you can change the size of the packaging, so it fits exactly to the product. The Traeger grills, on the top you can see the situation before, out of plastic, then after optimization in the bottom. Also, we brought a second life to their big box because children can build a house out of it and they can simply play with the box. Another example is Wilson tennis balls. Well, when you think of tennis balls, it was always in the plastic tube. However, we managed to design the product, the packaging, which simply fulfills the expectation of newly developed Wilson tennis balls, and now it's carton. So it's also much easier to feed it in the logistics carton. So the key takeaways for the strategic packaging management for you is, first of all, flexibility. Please have a look at your supply chain, whether it's flexible enough for you to fight the global supply chain turbulences. You have to have a look also at the supply chain under the scope of the compliance, whether your packaging suppliers will be able to deliver you what's needed by European Parliament, and then look at the efficiency, at the carton optimization and the container optimization. Having those three aspects will help you significantly to become resilient for the global turbulences, current, the upcoming one, and the upcoming ones. And that's all what I wanted to share. Thank you very much for listening to me. There is if you want to contact us, we are at stand E4T. You can also scan the barcode, so we can connect later.
Super cool. Thank you very much, Adam, for leading us through these, insightful sort of global story, moving from geopolitical challenges, also what we see in an environmental space. Maybe also for me to understand a bit. You were talking about you have so many sites that you control or that you can connect to. Are those Trillora sites, or are these sites from other players?
Mm-hmm. Those are our partner sites. We manage them, we manage production, and we are auditing them. We need to be sure whom we are working with. So before we start the cooperation, it takes roughly 6 months to audit them and approve, and then there are regular audits. Sequentially, we are simply checking them up, whether they still conform to our standards.
So Trillora is engineering the chain, not necessarily owning the manufacturing.
Yeah. And it brings us also a flexibility in bringing up new capabilities, but also new countries to the stage. Actually, now we are working on launching up Morocco.
No. Okay. So maybe if you have questions, you can also put them in the app. I'll ask the guys to also put up the QR code, so you can scan that with your mobile, and then you can push the questions to me, or you can raise your hand and I throw the microphone to you. One slide which you said, okay, this is one where you can make a picture of. I think this is the complexity I think that we face in Europe, or maybe also on a global scale. You're mentioning some of the stuff that is coming our way, right, with the regulatory environment. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit further on that one. So what is happening next year, the years after, and stuff where we should take count of?
Yeah, that's the most challenging part nowadays because nobody knows what's going to happen. The slide I put on the wall is the newest calendar. I updated it yesterday, and it was like few days ago, it was looking differently. Those regulations are changing. The calendar is changing because there is a lot of lobbying within the European Parliament. So we don't know exactly how it's going to look like. So some of the restrictions are easing now, like comparing to this what was at the beginning. However, what can I say now? It will happen for sure, and it will be pretty strict. The European community would like to know what is brought to the European market, how much waste, what is the content of the material, which means that you need to know the specification. And this is pretty challenging because many companies, they don't know what's the packaging specification. And as I mentioned in the presentation, in my opinion, those legal challenges or those legal requirements will end up the race to the bottom. So you shouldn't be looking at the lowest price packaging. You should be looking holistically at the packaging because you need to be sure that there will be no consequences with no compliance.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the consequences. They look very ugly, right? Sort of, you can be out of business effectively if you do not comply because of penalties that you can face and obviously reputational damage. So I think that
penalties are 5 times of the global annual turnover. Global,
5 times.
Yeah, and the parent company.
All right, so
crazy.
That's not funny anymore, right? Sort of, and so which one of those do you think will be hitting those processes of your clients the biggest?
From this, what I hear from this event, most probably the changes in the packaging supply chain. So the companies now are realizing that their current packaging supply chain is not enough. They are sending the new legal requirements to their partners, and they are simply figuring out that those partners are not able to fulfill the expectations. So what I expect for now, or what would be the most important, is first of all the readjustment of the supply chain, but also looking at the design of the packaging, whether the raw material is correct and whether the raw material is known, but also whether the sizes and the content, the material itself, it's enough. Because again, PPWR, you cannot ship more than 50% of the free space. Well, some companies are shipping it, believe me. Sometimes I see it in the footwear industry. The companies manufacturing rings, for example, they will need to really change their packaging because they'll have to ship small ring in a big packaging.
Yeah. So you say sort of, hey, there's some of those regulations are really hitting hard in that process. The next part, obviously, is then you're talking about compliance, sort of how to measure, what do you need to deliver, etc. So how is Trillora helping the clients effectively to stay away from the big penalties in a way?
Well, so first of all, we observe, we trace what's happening in the European Parliament. Well, it's not only European Parliament because the whole world is changing their requirements. Like California now, it's also following more or less this what European Parliament is implementing. So first of all, we are tracing and checking whether our supply chain is compliant. But what is important it's not us who are suggesting to the brands what needs to happen, because it's brand who needs to come back to Trillora and their supply chain and ask for the particular actions, because we don't know where the brand is shipping their products. We have the regulations and the directive. Regulations are for the European community. It's actually a law, but the directive is a target. So all of the members of the European community, the countries, will need to create a law around the target, around the directive. So we don't know where the brand is shipping the product, so we don't know what is the law in the particular country. That's why brand simply it's coming to us, telling us what needs to be done. Then we are checking back within our supply chain and confirming back to the brand.
And just to be clear, because there's also one of the questions from the audience, and then who is in the end responsible for all the compliancy, let's say data sets, reporting, etc. And I guess it's not you, but how do you help in that?
Yeah, it's a brand. It's a brand who will be responsible for all of the data and the data consistency. This might be challenging in particular countries. We know that there is some countries where you ask for a particular document, you will get it. You will get any document, but it doesn't reflect the reality. So you will need to upload into the data in the European Parliament system, and then they will be auditing it. So I don't know how the audits are going to happen, whether they will actually go to Asia and check physically. But how we are helping with that? We are simply checking with our suppliers. We have people in the country. Actually, we are employing 150 people. So if there is a need, our representative in Sri Lanka goes to the plant and simply checking up whether the data which is delivered by the supplier reflects the reality.
Okay, cool. So this is a kind of a tough and a little bit heavy thing, but the consequences are big. So I think it's important that we touch upon it. So let's move to a slightly lighter area, right? So you showed a couple of packaging innovations, which I find super cool. But what are you the most proud of, or what do you find the most fascinating packaging innovation that you've seen in the last few years?
Yeah, well, when we look at our business, it's rather boring. It's not AI, and there is not too much of innovation. However, when it comes to the novelties, I'm really proud of. Those are the new raw materials, like the bamboo carton. It's still being under research, but simply new materials will be introduced to the stage, because we are all the time using the paper pulp, which is environmentally friendly. You can recycle it. However, it still consumes fresh water and emitting the CO to the atmosphere. So in my opinion, those new novelty raw materials will be the...
Yeah, so you're talking about bamboo, and then some of the stuff that you showed with Wilson and the others. Which one do you like best and why?
Well, I like removing polybags. Yeah, so when you look at the Traeger grills, they had a lot of plastic. So we managed to delimit this plastic severally. So probably that's the one, because then we delivered a lot of CO2 emission reduction.
Okay. Hey, and then move a little bit sort of, to your first part of the presentation was really about the vision, what's happening, more or less what's coming our way today. What would you expect sort of, what are really trigger points as well, strategically that we have to sort of take into account when building our strategy from your perspective?
Companies will pay more attention to their supply chain, and that's also interesting situation which is happening now. We work with the biggest in the world, with the biggest brands. Recently, I spoke with a brand from the outdoor industry who is manufacturing in China, Vietnam, and Cambodia, if I remember correctly. We were talking about the upcoming regulations, and they said, "Hey, Adam, our suppliers are working with the biggest in the industry, so we believe that those companies will force them simply to be compliant." And I said, "Hey, but you are the biggest. You are one of the biggest. So if you think that your suppliers or the other brands will force your suppliers to be compliant, well, it might not happen." So this is the biggest challenge, and companies will need to shift their thinking a bit from, as I mentioned at the beginning, from the situation where they allow their suppliers to manage the packaging category. They will simply need to bring the responsibility for the packaging management.
Okay. Hey, and we're talking about sort of you're assessing all your suppliers in a way, and there's also this piece of technology, right? So there's many also vendors here that are doing sort of the folding, the cutting, let's say the filler material optimizations. Where do you see the trends in that one, in the automation part? What is coming our way as a key trend?
Well, so. It depends on the industry, but like people want to have the individual individual products. So this personalization will be more and more important coming to the stage. That's when we are talking about the retail packaging. However, when we are talking about the logistics packaging, I observe that the companies are implementing at their distribution centers really sophisticated robotic equipment. So I had a situation, a challenging situation with one of the clients recently. They were manufacturing the boxes in the multiple locations across the globe, and even if the specification, the grammage of the box was the same, at the end of the day, when they brought the products to their DC in Europe, the weight of the box was different. So then, with this automatic product line, like they were simply throwing away those boxes, and that was a big challenge. So the standardization will also play a key role in the future supply chains.
Cool. So and then, and is there anything in technology that you would say sort of IoT or new tags, for instance? I see sort of smart tags coming our way,
Well,
and then trying to integrate that in the box. What is happening in that domain?
It's happening now, but it's still, I would say, in an infant stage. So the companies are designing the boxes with the support of AI. Yeah, that's it's happening. Also, what we are implementing now, or rather researching, is a kind of virtual design where when we design a box, we don't need to create a sample, ship it to the client. We simply sit in a virtual room with VR goggles, and we are simply showing the client how the packaging, the newly designed packaging, looks like, so they can simply turn it and almost touch it.
Cool. Hey, and then we have the. I think you mentioned it in between. Sort of, you do a lot for the fashion and outdoor, right? Mm-hmm. Primarily, how would you see that evolving for your company, where we'd like to target? So some of that processes, can that be applied sort of in adjacent sectors, and which sectors would that be for you to further develop?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like apparel, footwear, and outdoor, those are like adjacent industries, and I would say the apparel is most sophisticated. Then outdoor is somehow following the apparel and footwear. However, when it comes to the solutions which could be applied to the other industry, furniture industry, it's very challenging because their packaging specs changes every season. They are bringing the new products and releasing the products after the season. Electronics industry, they also need the standardization and the optimization.
Yeah, so that's also, you mentioned, I think, sort of the data sheets of the products and the packaging, therefore, right? Mm-hmm. They need to be known. And how would you see that also for return shipments? But obviously, return shipments, it also drives the carton return stream. it's a big topic here at the conference. So what is your view on that part?
Well, that was interesting discussion I had with some of the people here. We are helping also to design the packaging, which actually this is a e-commerce packaging, which can serve as a packaging which simply you could put on the store, but also you can send it in an e-commerce channel. The footwear packaging. We manufacture the box in Asia. Then client puts the product in the box. It's being shipped to the DC. And then, like standard channel, it's brought to the store. However, when you want to ship it to the client via e-commerce, there is a peel of strip. So you close the box and you send the product in the same packaging to the client. Then, when the client wants to return the box, the product, there is another peel of strip. They just lock it and send it back to the warehouse. So you don't need to repack it. You don't need to put additional packaging. So actually, this is something what we are doing.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, but because my wife and daughter, they order anything that is let's say in promotion, right? And then they send half of it back. But what are the real numbers there? Do you know that about the current return ratios with shoes and apparel?
No,
but still high, right?
Yeah.
Is it increasing as far as you know?
I don't know. We are not working with that.
Okay, this is obviously, you see that that has an environmental aspect to it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, you're not necessarily the end responsible person in Trillora, but obviously you have a view and a vision on where you would like to be in, let's say, 3 years' time. Could you sort of elaborate a little on where you see your company heading?
First of all, there is like a couple of direct competitors. We are one of the few companies in the world who are doing this what we are doing, this the optimization on the global scale. So we want to be the biggest. Well, not from the scale only, but also from the range of capabilities. We will be adding some capabilities soon. There is a plan to implement some logistics solutions. So simply plugging in new solutions to our core solution. This is something that we are looking for.
Yeah. No, and there's a 30-year background in the industry, only then on a different name, right? So
exactly.
And tell me a little bit about the business model, right? So with Trillora, you're coming to a client, you charge a fee for what? How do I connect with you on a, let's say, the invoice base?
Well, it's like two ways of cooperation. If the client wants to have a design only and manage the packaging category by themselves, we simply do it. We redesign, hand over the specification, and we charge for the design. But then, if we source the packaging, and the scale of the business is substantial, we are able to simply blend the design cost into the packaging. So there is no design fee. We are just adding the cost into the packaging. So two ways of cooperation.
But then I can imagine you have certain economies of scale with all these manufacturers. So how would you give that back to the clients?
Well, while we are looking at the client's business, the companies enjoy the benefits of the optimization with a certain scale when they reach, well, let's say, like 100 containers per year. Yeah. If the number of containers is lower, for me, it means that they are not always shipping the full container load, which means that they don't need to optimize the container, because anyhow they don't need the full space. However, when there is a substantial volume, we are able simply to deliver those savings, as I mentioned, even like over $2 million. So that's how we are giving back to the clients. Clients working with us, they don't look at the packaging itself, the packaging cost itself. They're looking holistically at this, at the whole optimization, because it might happen that we add up the cost of the packaging. The box is bigger, for example, or there is an additional feature. So the packaging itself, the cost of the packaging is higher. However, we improve the efficiency at the distribution center, for example. So less handling, and then when the client is looking at the total cost of ownership, usually we are delivering the roughly 20% of the savings across the whole supply chain.
Okay. Yeah, so the savings you pass on effectively based on economies of scale that you can create, and based on you have a better understanding of the materials, effectively
Exactly.
what is needed to for the client purpose. Hey, and you mentioned a few things around sort of, hey, we're around 150 people at the moment, you know, directly employed with your organization, and obviously with the partner activities. There's a war of talent going on, and how would you see that sort of, you know, Trillora, acquiring, retaining the people in the industry, and what is it you have to offer there?
Mm-hmm. Well, so first of all, when we look at the average time of employment, we have people recently, I read in our internal intranet that the person who is working at the IT department is with us for 23 years. And it's pretty normal for us, so we don't have a big turnover. However, it's challenging, yes, to find a good talent. Well, currently we're looking for sales managers for Europe and for US with a global presence and global capability. So for the future, we'll be strengthening our workforce in Asia, and maybe bringing more. While we'll be bringing more capabilities. For example, to Europe, we'll be simply employing more people.
No, and I can imagine it can be fun stuff, right? So you're international, working on new technology, and I liked some of the cool designs that you actually showed. So from that perspective, thank you very much, Adam. And I'd like to say, I'll round off with a few words on how I at least understood your messaging. You clearly gave an introduction around sort of, hey, what is happening with our industry at the moment? You know, a lot of challenges, but they're not necessarily new. They probably have a different name, but they always have been there. The second element is into sort of breaking it down was also sort of, hey, those challenges is also driven by regulatory environment. You know, be aware on that one, because there's a clear message in that one. Hey, the penalties are severe. It can disrupt your business to bankruptcy if you do not comply, and certain ways that you really have to take into account in order to sustain, but also probably set yourself apart from competition by being better and in the compliancy. And this is clearly where you can play a big role. So that sums up, I think, how Trillora is also helping the client base from design to packaging management. So thank you very much. Give a big hand to Adam Sarama.
Thank you very much.